Hello, YouTube. In the year 1958, the USSR Academy of Sciences formed a special commission. It included famous Soviet scientists, such as correspondent member of the USSR Academy of Sciences, Obruchev, geologists, and others. I will not list their names here, but trust me, there were some of the top scientists in the field. Incredibly, even the director of the Moscow Zoo, who was preparing to receive a new and unusual inhabitant, joined the commission. So what do you think the commission of this composition studied at the key moment for the country's economy? You won't believe it. They were studying abominable snowmen, or for the sake of brevity, I'll just refer to it as Bigfoot. On New Year's Eve, January 31, 1957, a meeting of the Presidium of the USSR Academy of Sciences was held in Moscow. There was only one item on the agenda about Bigfoot. The commission was created based on the results of this meeting. The transcript of the meeting notes the speeches of Porshnev, an important name, and other top scientists, including Kapitsa, Tom, Obruchev, and others, including Stanikovich, who was the head of the PAMIRS scientific station of the Academy of Sciences of the Tajik Soviet Socialist Republic. How did it happen that the question of Bigfoot, which is considered a household name today and accepted basically, how come that it had such an importance during that time of the Soviet era? Well, there are a few ideas. The second result of the meeting of the Presidium of the USSR Academy of Sciences was a comprehensive expedition to search for Bigfoot in the Pamir Mountains. The expedition was led by Stanikovich, and it included zoologists, botanists, ethnographers, geologists, cartographers, guides, snow leopard hunters, dog handlers with dogs trained to smell chimpanzees. The world has never known such a serious expedition for a mythical creature. Only the Soviet Union, apparently, by mobilizing nations' resources, could carry out operations of this level. The expedition discovered a Neolithic man camp in the Pamir Mountains, but it was not possible to find fresh traces of the Bigfoot. According to the results of the expedition, despite the objections of the deputy chairman of the commission, Doctor of Sciences Porshnev, the Academy of Sciences closed the topic of studying Bigfoot. The work was curtailed, and it was decided to study the question, the issue, the reality of Bigfoot in specialized institutes, in particular at the Institute of Ethnography. There were plans to start cooperation with the Chinese Academy of Sciences. In 1958, the two issues of the information materials of the Commission for the Study of the Bigfoot Question were published, and in 1959, after the dissolution of the Commission, two more issues were published. Porshnev actually has prepared 4 more issues of information materials that have not been published. 5 years later, in 1963, Porshnev published a monograph, The Current State of the Question of Relict Hominoids. The monograph was published in an edition of 100 copies and is an exceptional rarity. In Porshnev's monograph, you will find facts unknown to the public in general, which few people have heard about, which both in the USSR and Russia and abroad. Well, a Russian researcher who goes by the name of Master Go listed a few on his internet site. Also, there is a report by military officer Kolpashnikov on the inspection of 2 strange creatures shot by sentries during the fighting on Khalkhin Gol in 1939. And you can see my video on the subject. I attached the URL in the description to this video here. Somewhere in the archives of the USSR Academy of Sciences, there is a report by geologist Zdorik, who literally ran into a Bigfoot resting in the grass in the PAMIRS. Both in the case of Commander Kolpashnikov and in the case of geologist Zdorik, these were very close contacts in which it was possible to examine and describe the creatures in detail. Zdorik's words, by the way, are confirmed by the testimony of his guide, and the year was 1934. There is evidence of the hunter and writer Baikov, who in the foothills of Manchuria observed a tamed humanoid beast in a hunter's hut. This description was published by Baikov about 30 years before any reports regarding the Bigfoot appeared in the mass media. Baikov was accompanied in the taiga, boreal forest, by the hunter Baboshin, who fully confirmed his words. In those years, the USSR was still friends with China, People's Republic of China, so in Porshnev's book, you can read the observation of Chinese scientists. In particular, Chinese professor Ho Wai Lu observed in the Qinling Shan Mountains a half-human who did not have speech abilities, tamed by local highlanders. And this indirectly confirms Baboshin's story. Regarding these facts, Master Go thought that this is only a part of what formed the basis for the creation of the Commission for the Study of Bigfoot and the organization of a large-scale expedition to the Pamir Mountains, or PAMIRS. He thinks that there are many facts under the heading of classified information that Porshnev simply had no right to advertise, meaning to disclose. This may be reports from the military, border guards, pilots, and so on. Why did the USSR invest so heavily in the search for Bigfoot? Porshnev's hypothesis was this: a wide public response and the interest of the Soviet people. Academician Nesmiyanov's hypothesis: the promotion of Soviet science to new discoveries. Academician Kapitsa's hypothesis: the presence of people who would enthusiastically go in search in difficult conditions. The true purpose of such a large-scale search remains undisclosed in Soviet history. If you know the real motives for such a large-scale scientific work on the question of Bigfoot and its very rapid collapse, share it in the comments to the publication. That's what Go invited his audience to do. But before I present the most interesting, to me, comments, here's an episode very few people know about in the West or even beyond. This is from the archives of the USSR border troops. Such reports can be searched and found. Here is one, and it dates back to 1932. In the summer of 1932, as part of a detachment of 7 men, I was ambushed at the pass of the trail to Kashgar. In the afternoon, we saw a man moving along a snowy path towards the trail. Deciding that this was a border trespasser infiltrator, we prepared for detention and moved out of hiding. This man was well illuminated by the rays of the setting sun. We clearly saw it at a distance of 600 to 700 meters. He walked with a leisurely but rather fast, light gait. It was noticeable that the rocky terrain was familiar to him. He was of medium height, stocky, bent forward when walking, and had longer arms than an ordinary person. The intruder crossed the path at right angles and headed into impassable rocks. We went up to the place where he crossed the path. Our detachment found footprints in the snow similar to human ones, but also different from human ones. There were no shoe marks. The man was walking barefoot. The tracks led into impassable rocks. We looked at the places available for search, but found none. Then we decided to follow the tracks in the opposite direction. By observing the footprints, it was established that the man, in parentheses, was walking along the ridge along which the border passed, and his Footprints also went into the mountains inaccessible to humans. And it by Pyankov, a border guard soldier, document number IM1, number 28A. And by the way, Kashgar is located at the crossroads of the Tian Shan and Kunlun spurs at the foot of the Pamir Mountains. Comrade Pyankov describes this episode at the border quite clearly. Nothing superfluous, everything is clear and understandable. The creature behaved like a human, moved like a human, but at the same time, there are differences from a human being. They're clearly noticed and well explained. 1. The creature came out of rock formation, which is impassable for humans, and disappeared into the same impassable rock formation. 2. The step is easy, fast, not typical for a person in such an area and in such weather conditions. The detachment of border guards could not catch up with him. 3. The arms are longer than those of an ordinary person, an uncharacteristic tilt of the body when walking. 4. The creature was barefoot. A person can walk barefoot, but not in such environment or conditions. The report of this border guard was able to get to the commission on the question of Bigfoot of the USSR Academy of Sciences and in professor's monograph on the relic hominoid. Now the comments. The comments are as follows. I'll just read them. It seems to me that the more important thing is not the fact of the creation of the commission and the dispatch of the expedition, but the fact of the dissolution of the commission and the termination of work. Another comment. Porshnev was seriously concerned with the origin of man in general, and he had a very original, quite different from the Marxist view of this process. After a while, he will write an amazing book on this topic, which in the USSR could not be fully published. Another comment. Porshnev saw the search for a relic hominoid as an opportunity to prove his position. Following comment. The USSR had such a powerful tool for scientific research in a wide variety of fields as the Academy of Sciences, and at the same time, huge desert, sparsely populated territories of the mountains, north and south, where there was hope to meet unknown animals. The real engine behind the creation of the commission and its work was Porshnev. The rest, well, maybe except for old man Obruchev, they were waiting generals, meaning just for show they were there. It can be assumed that when, during a short but apparently stormy discussion of Porshniev's ideas, the essence of his non-Marxist views became clear, the work of the commission was curtailed. It was curtailed, I think, because this discovery threatens to radically revise many ideas. Someone looked into the Pandora's box and decided it was too early to get in there. Now this comment. I was acquainted with a doctor who, while working in the PAMIRS, a doctor in a geological expedition, recorded the story of a local old man who served in the Red Army, volunteer detachment in his youth. In the late 1920s, they chased the Basmachi, anti-Soviet Central Asian armed resistance, comprised of local tribe fighters, and came across a cave from where strange sounds were coming. Without hesitation, the cave was pelted with grenades, and later they found the remains of humanoid creatures there. Anything can be found in those places. To look for a hominoid in these wild mountain places, like a needle in a haystack, but which is quite natural to assume there are a lot of them, otherwise they would have degenerated and died out. Perhaps there are even several tribes, and their secretive way of life is due to the fact that they are afraid of humans, apparently, since the Neolithic period, when the Cro-Magnon began their wholesale extermination. That's what I wanted to let you know. You can look more in my playlist dedicated to the abominable snowman, Yeti, Almasta, and so on. I have more information from different sources from Eurasia to tell you about. Of course, I'm especially interested in the Asian part of Russia and, of course, China, Mongolia, But there are interesting stories from other areas, which you can find, like the chuchuna and other very unusual creatures that are reported and have been reported and are subject of myths and stories and legends, but also modern observations. So thank you for your interest in my research. If you can support my research, you'll find ways to do it in the links you'll find in the description to this video. Please tell others about my channel and please like my videos.